study on health. We're going to be focusing on health this month and also next month. And tonight I've asked Dr. Newby to bring the lesson that originally I asked her to bring, and that on sleep and water and so on in relation to health. Last week we had a special message on mold and mildew, because in light of all that has taken place, that lesson was needed. I learned a lot about mold and mildew that I did not know. And one of the reasons why that things happen, that there are a lot of reasons, but one, of course, that I learned a lot that I can pass on to others and maybe save somebody's life really in the process of doing that. And so let's welcome Dr. Newby, and again, just the rest of this month, and also perhaps all of next month, we will have some studies on in relation to health. And so, Dr. Newby, go ahead.
Thank you, Pastor Malone, and I thank Ira and Phyllis for their prayer and for this privilege to do this. Health is absolutely a blessing that a lot of us don't realize how blessed we are to have health. And our bodies are the temple, and we certainly want to do as much as we can for that temple. I want to just refer to a couple scriptures, Psalm 139, verses 13 and 14, and I will read that out of the New King James Bible because it's so appropriate for what we say. It says, "For you formed my inward parts, you covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well." And again, we are truly fearfully and wonderfully made. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about water first, and then we'll go into sleep. And actually, water is a fountain of life. We could not live without water. And God, in His sovereignty and His omniscience, when He created the world, He put the earth, there's 70% of the earth is covered by water. And there is water in every single cell of our bodies. So every system in the human body needs water in order to function properly. Approximately, an adult body is made of 2/3 of water. The brain contains 80% water, blood is 83%, lungs 90%, skin 64%, and bones, which we think of not having water, but bones are 30% water, muscles about 75% water. So we can see how important water is for our absolute survival. And I just want to look at about 14 different functions in our body that need water and what they are. So again, in order to function properly, all the trillions of cells and organs of the body require water. It's essential. The first thing that I want to look at is the joints, bones and joints. Water lubricates the bones and joints. Cartilage, which is found in joints, and the disc of the spine contain about 80% water. Water long-term dehydration can reduce the joint shock absorbing ability, leading to joint pain, arthritis, and some other ailments that we so frequently have. The second thing is that it forms saliva and mucus. Saliva helps us digest our food and helps the mouth, nose, and eyes moist. It prevents the friction and damage. Drinking water also keeps the mouth clean. Consumed instead of sweetened beverages, it can also reduce tooth decay. And the third benefit, water delivers oxygen throughout our body. Blood is more than 90% water, and blood carries oxygen to every different part of the body and every cell of the body. Water boosts our skin health. And if taken in proper amounts, it improves the skin barrier. With dehydration, the skin can become more vulnerable to skin disorders, becomes dry and itchy and irritated. Water cushions the brain. the spinal cord, and other sensitive tissues in our body. Dehydration can affect brain structure and function. It is also involved in the production of hormones and the neurotransmitters that help us with our moods and other things. Prolonged dehydration can lead to problems with thinking and reasoning. Water regulates our body temperature. Water that is stored in the middle layers of the skin comes to the skin surface as sweat when the body heats up. As it evaporates, it cools the body. Again, some scientists have suggested that when there is too little water in the body, heat storage increases and the individual is less able to tolerate heat strain that may lead to heat stroke. The digestive system depends on water. The bowel needs water in order to work properly. Dehydration can lead to digestive problems, constipation, and overly acidic stomach. This increases the risk of heartburn and stomach ulcers. These disorders are so very, very common, and sometimes you don't even know that just drinking sufficient water will help not necessarily eliminate them, but certainly make them less of a problem. Water flushes body waste. Water is needed in the process of sweating and the removal of urine and feces. It helps maintain blood pressure. Dehydration can cause blood to become thick, which is associated with decreased blood pressure. It also helps our airways when dehydration of the airways are restricted by the body in an effort to minimize water loss. This can worsen asthma and allergies. Water makes minerals and nutrients accessible. They dissolve in water, which makes it possible for them to reach different parts of the body. Water prevents kidney damage. The kidneys regulate fluid in the body. Insufficient water can lead to kidney stones and other problems. Water boosts performance during exercise. Some scientists have proposed that consuming more water might enhance performance during strenuous exercise. And this is a big one. Water helps weight loss. Water may help us with weight loss if it's consumed instead of sweetened juices and sodas. Preloading with water before meals can help us feel full and prevent overeating because we'll have more of a sense of fullness. So if we just look at those things, all of those, a lot of those conditions, again, can be minimized just using proper amounts of water. And what is the best source of water? Just clean water. We don't have to use bottled water. Just tap water that's purified is certainly good. But some of the water that's required by the body is obtained through foods with high water content, such as fruits, vegetables, leafy greens, spinach. All of those contain water. So we get about 20% of our water from the food that we eat if we are eating healthy and regularly. During everyday functioning, water is lost by the body, and this needs to be replaced. We notice that we lose water through activities such as sweating, urination, and even breathing. Well, we lose water that way. So drinking water, whether it's from a tap or a bottle, is the best source of fluid for the body rather than, again, any other liquid. Milk and juices are good sources, but they should not be replaced by should not replace the water that we need to drink. The amount of water that's needed each day varies from person to person. The age of the person, the sex of the person, the activity of the person. So there's no necessarily fixed amount of water that should be consumed or must be consumed. Generally, it's looked at probably between 6 to 8 8-ounce glasses or cups of water every day, but that varies from person to person. Again, your activity, whether you're male or female, so the health that you're in, all of those things, again, would determine the amount of water. According to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the average recommended daily intake of water from both food and drink, again, is between 6 to 8 glasses of water, and that includes foods, fruits, vegetables that are high in water content. Fresh fruits and vegetables and all non-alcoholic fluids count towards our body needs on a daily basis. So that's about 20% of what we need. So again, looking at what time should we drink water? Obviously, if you're thirsty, but it's better to drink water before meals because that helps with weight loss. Uh, Try not to drink a lot of water late in the evening, usually after 6 or 7 o'clock, because again, it makes you more prone to have to get up uh, in the night. And the temperature of water, room temperature probably is the best source of water. Sometimes ice water um, can constrict the digestive process. But whatever your preference is, room temperature, hot water, cold water, ice water is not necessarily the best. So some of the water that is required by the body is obtained through our food. During everyday functioning, we again are losing water on a regular basis. And so what is the source of water? Um, just clean water. A lot of people don't drink tap water. They think bottled water is better. The problem with bottled water is that a lot of the plastics um, help to fill up the landfill. And if you drink a lot of bottled water, sometimes the microplastics, particularly if you refill those bottles of water, the microplastics are absorbed into the body. So that's not necessarily healthy for us. Probably a more efficient way of drinking water is the water coolers where you get the 5 gallon waters and because it cuts down on the plastic that's disposed. Distilled water is not necessarily the healthiest water to drink because the minerals have been removed from that. So you don't want to drink distilled water on a regular basis. But another type of water that we see often is called alkaline water. And that water has a pH that's higher than the pH of the blood. Anything that's higher than 7 is alkaline. That is not necessarily healthy for the body, particularly if it's over 9 as far as alkaline is concerned. There's really no real reason to drink alkaline water. The only thing that it might help is for a person that has kidney disease. But again, the still water is not the best water. Alkaline water is not necessarily a good water to drink on a regular basis. So now, as far as if you're going to drink bottled water, um, it depends more on preference than anything else. But if you're going to drink it from a glass bottle because you don't have the microplastic absorbed that way. Again, the 6 to 8 glasses of water on a daily basis, depending on the sex, the activity. You need more water. Usually when the weather is warmer, you need more to drink more water if you're very active and lose a lot of water and sweating. If you have a fever, all of those things are again necessary for to replace the water that you're drinking. Now, if you're going to drink bottled water, you need to know what is the source. A lot of times the water that you see in the store says drinking water. Drinking water is simply filtered tap water. So you can put a filter on your furnace, on your faucet, and you have your own drinking water. So to buy that, again, it's expensive, it's plastic, and it's not any healthier than your tap water. Spring water, usually again the source of it, but spring water says it should be from a spring, and you can look at the water bottle and see what the source of the water is, if it really is spring water. And water has it has a taste. The different waters even the bottled waters taste have a definite taste to them. Some of them are kind of flat, but you can tell the water. Well water has a very distinct taste to it. We had a well when we lived in Cedarburg, and I did not like the taste of the well water. It was healthy water, but I just didn't like the way it tasted. And to know that water has a specific taste, we had friends that came over to visit, and they bought their dog. And so the dog was running around and needed water. And I just put some water in a bowl for the dog. And he started drinking the water, and he backed up and he didn't drink the water anymore. So I didn't know what it was. But then I changed the well water, the tap water, to bottled water, and he drank all the water. So at least the dog knew that he didn't like the taste of that well water. And again, some of the ones that waters that you see in the store, there's um, electrolyte water, coconut water. I can't even think of all of the names of the alkaline water. All you need is just plain water. The spring water, again, if it says it's spring water, the source needs to be from a natural spring. And you can look at the bottled water that you're drinking and see what the source is. Some of the bottled waters that again have been found to be probably true spring water. Mountain Valley, Ice Mountain, Fiji water. They say that water is actually from Fiji Islands. That is really spring water. So again, drinking water during the day. Sometimes if you set a pattern, you're more likely to get the water that you need. Usually, at least 1 or 2 glasses of water when you first get up in the morning, and then drinking water throughout the day is preferable than to drinking a lot of water late in the evening. And there's a artesian well in Milwaukee that actually it's been there since the 1800s, and it is artesian well water, and it's free. A lot of people, the well is in Bayview on Pryor Avenue, and it's a water that it's spring water. You can just go and fill up your water, and again, it's well water, it's pure water, it's clarified, and it doesn't cost you anything. I think at one point they used to limit the amount of water that you could get from the prior well, but I'm not sure how that works now because I haven't been there in a very, very long time. The source of water in Milwaukee is Lake Michigan, which is a freshwater body, and the water again is filtered, and the tap water is good water, usually, again, unless there is a sewage overflow or something, the water is clean, it doesn't smell. You can actually taste or smell water. If it doesn't smell good, then you know that that water is not really necessarily clean and good to drink. So those are, again, the amazing benefits of water. It affects every single cell of our body. It's a simple thing. It's abundant. For the most part, it's free unless you want to pay for it. And it's something that we need. God gave us water for a reason. On the creation, separating the water was one of the first things that God did. So God in his sovereignty, omniscience, knew that we needed water. And it's a privilege because not everybody has good drinking water. But our water source here in this country, for the most part, is good. It's clean. It's filtered, and free to, well, no, it's not free to drink. I guess if you live in either rent or own, you have to pay a water bill, but still, it's a lot less than buying bottled water. But bottled water or other kind of waters is a preference. So before we go into any sleep, we'll be talking about that next. Any questions?
Yes, there is a question, a follow-up question. First of all, one question is, how about carbonated water? How beneficial is carbonated water?
You
And then
don't need, okay,
I'll
you
wait.
don't need, you don't need carbonated water. Again, you're getting the carbonation in the water, but it's not necessary to have that, and it sometimes can cause gas.
Oh, okay, good to know. And there's a follow-up question, another question, and that is it true that we shouldn't drink water from a bottle that's been opened and left sitting for a long time? And then I'll also ask, what about people who leave bottled water in the car, even though it's
Um,
unopened? Okay, so those questions.
okay, the problem with water that's been left sitting and open for a long time, water can draw bacteria, so it's not a good thing to leave water opened and drinking. And certainly never leave it in a car because if the heat of a car again causes the microplastics to be absorbed, and you're getting those microplastics in your body when you drink water that's been left in a car for a long time, particularly if it gets heated.
Okay, good. And a final follow-up question. Can you explain one more time why ice water isn't ideal?
You can drink ice water if people like it, but that's a cultural thing. A lot of the European countries don't even have ice in anything that they drink. It doesn't necessarily stop digestion, but the ice water, the body has to heat that up when you're drinking ice water. So that's causing some energy, but it's more of a preference than anything else. It's not harmful. It's just not necessarily the better choice.
Got it.
It's an American cultural thing.
Okay, got it. Let me just make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, one more. Oh, two more. Um, Atrium Well is a Bayview location, East Pryor Avenue and South Superior Street in Bayview. Thank you, Elder Rick.
Yeah, that
And
is,
then
that's where
also,
it is. It's an artesian well, artesian water. It's
okay,
natural, fresh water that's
okay,
free for the taking. I think it's still free. I don't know.
good to know, good to know. And then I think this might be the last one on the water. What about shipments of water that are delivered throughout hot states to its final destination? So in transit and it's being transported in hot vehicles. How are they harmful or not? Potentially.
With all water that's in plastic containers, some of those microplastics, it will be absorbed into the water itself. It's not
Mm,
necessarily harmful, but again, if you just pure, clean tap water, the source of the water, as long as it's clean,
good.
is a good source of water.
Okay.
Um, it's not going to be harmful when it's transported. We had a water cooler when we lived in Cedarburg. It was what the 5 gallon bottles of water. And the advantage of those is, you can get it room temperature, hot or either cold, and you're not using as much plastic. And it's supposed to, they are spring water.
Good. And then well, two more. What about purified water? Is that okay? Did I answer? I saw a raised hand. I think this is it. What about
Purified
purified
water
water?
is usually water that's been filtered. And you can buy filters for your own faucet. But if it's
Okay.
called drinking water, purified water is tap water that's been filtered.
Okay. And does that remove the nourishment from them if it's purified then? Are we
No,
losing something? Okay.
no. The
Okay.
thing that leaches out the minerals is the distillation, and most people are not going to go to the trouble to distill water. You can buy distilled water. The only thing I can remember distilled water being good for is when you put it in steam irons, and
Okay.
and not many people iron anymore. But anyway,
That's
you
a
don't
good
want to drink distilled water all the time.
okay. Good point. And then finally, my dentist told me that bottled water doesn't have fluoride in it, so consider using mouthwash daily with fluoride to protect your teeth. So that
Bottled water does not have fluoride, particularly if it comes from a spring. So the fluoride is added in municipal water that you get from the tap, but you can, again, toothpaste has, most of it has fluoride, mouthwash has fluoride, and you can buy fluoride yourself just to brush on your teeth. Usually they recommend doing it at night and not brushing afterwards. The fluoride simply was added to municipal water to prevent cavities in children.
Okay.
Other than that,
And
it doesn't have any real specific medicinal purpose other than cavity prevention.
okay, good, thank you. And then finally, I've heard that if you drink water from a plastic bottle, it could be cancer causing. Is that true?
I've never heard that before, and I didn't see that in any of the research. But it
Okay,
depends on the source of the water. The only thing that may be harmful are the microplastics that come from the plastic water bottle itself. And they could, in the long run, cause harm, but that hasn't been documented that I was aware of.
okay. Good exchange, everybody. Thank you for engaging. We're going to let Dr. Newby transition to the next part of our lesson this evening and keep the questions coming. Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Okay,
Newby.
I'm going to look at again as far as what the Bible says about sleep. Sleep again is absolutely essential. And I'm going to look at Psalm 127, verse 2, and where it says, sleep is a gift from God. And what do we do with a gift? We accept a gift. A gift is precious, and it is a gift that God gives us. And the other part again is Philippians 4. Okay, Philippians 4:19, where it says, "And my God shall supply all of our need according to his riches and glory through Christ Jesus our Lord." So God has provided water, he has provided sleep. And sleep is, again, it's a gift and a blessing that God gives us. The amount of sleep that we need, again, depends on our age, our health situation, but we spend 1/3 of our life sleeping. If we look at a 24-hour day, it's recommended that we get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep every night. So it is, again, it's absolutely essential. It means that we can't live without sleep for an extended period of time. So that's 1/3 of our life that we spend sleeping. It's a normal body process. Sleep allows our body and our brain to rest. Again, sleep disorders are very common. And although it's something that's absolutely essential, some people have a lot of problem getting adequate sleep. So despite how simple it is, sleep is one of the most complex and mysterious body processes known to science. We don't really know what happens or everything that happens while we're sleeping. But again, if we're not getting enough good quality sleep, and you probably know that because you won't feel good, but without enough quality sleep, your body and brain can't work as they should. And there's again, a field of medicine that's devoted entirely to sleep and treating sleep disorders. So it is, again, it's a whole science in itself. The body cycles between being awake and sleep throughout each day. And certain processes, again, happen while we're sleeping. So when we're asleep, our body tends to power down. It's not as active. So including our brain, it's less active. There are stages of sleep. So some of the key things that happens while we're asleep, energy is conserved. During the day, the cells are working throughout our whole body. While we're asleep, the body uses less energy. That lets the cells reply and stock up for the next day. There's self-repair and recovery when we're sleeping. Being less active makes it easier for our body to heal injuries and to repair our tissues. And that happens while we're asleep and what all of our activities during the day. And if we just even stop to think of what we're doing, even if we're sitting still, our bodies are still very active while we're awake. So those things have to be restocked and restored. So there's also, again, being sick makes us require more sleep because more energy is used, but we feel tired and we will rest. So again, rest. Jesus rested when he was tired, and he encouraged the disciples to rest. So we definitely need the sleep, we need the rest, we need to slow our bodies down. Brain maintenance while we are asleep, the brain is reorganizing and cataloging our memories, any learned information. Um, it's just, again, stopping. It makes assessing and using the things that we have learned it makes remembering easier and more efficient. And our brain absolutely has to have that in order for us to function efficiently. How much sleep do we need? Well, it's, again, it varies from person to person. There are probably a few people that have been known to science that could go without adequate amount of sleep. But usually, again, the way that depends on the activity that we have, but it varies. The way people sleep, how much they need can vary widely. The number of hours of sleep usually that are good for our health, that changes during our lifetime. Infants, again, babies from birth to 3 months, they can sleep from anywhere from 17 to 18 hours a day because they're growing very rapidly, and their bodies need that rest. Adults usually that are 18 and older usually require 7 to 9 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. Less than 7 is not necessarily good. Again, it varies with people. Some people can buy with that, but you cannot make up sleep. If you're not getting adequate sleep, you can't sleep on the weekend or however you tend to make it up because you can't make up sleep. If you're not getting enough, then the body will know that. But again, the average adult between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. Usually they kind of make the difference and say 8 hours of sleep, and that's just a common number that we have. But the personal circumstances, our own health status also affects how much sleep that we need. As we get older, we don't tend to sleep as soundly, but again, you still need between 7 and 9 hours. If you're sick or you're recovering from an illness or an injury or any kind of medical procedure, you require more sleep. Pregnant women require more sleep. Excuse me. Do you have to have all your sleep at one time? No. Sometimes people nap, and napping may be good for you. You don't want to nap late at night. And there are different stages of sleep. Next. My room is dry. But anyway, the stages of sleep. There is non-REM sleep, and there is called rapid eye movement, REM sleep. But sleep doesn't mean that our brain is totally inactive. It is not. We're less aware of the world around us, but we still are detecting things, and there's brain activity that's going on. The brain activity has predictable patterns, and experts have organized those patterns in different stages. The stages fall broadly into two categories: rapid eye movement or REM sleep and non-REM sleep. There are three different stages of REM sleep while we are sleeping. That's usually as you start when you lay down and close your eyes. Um, that's not a real solid, deep sleep. There's a lot of things that are going on. We're still thinking, we can still hear. So all of those different stages make a difference. But the one cycle usually takes about 90 to 20 minutes before another cycle begins. So we're constantly just cycling between those three stages of non-REM sleep. And REM sleep, our lids are moving, and that can be measured, and that's the deepest sleep, and that's the most beneficial sleep for us. The stage one of REM sleep that's the lightest stage, and that's when we first fall asleep. So, and sometimes you can feel your body jerking, your body is starting to relax as you go into that non-REM sleep. But the REM sleep, again, the deepest stage of the REM sleep is about, it's stage three and takes about 25% of our total sleep time. And sometimes people say, well, I didn't sleep last night or I didn't sleep well last night. They actually, again, are in the stage of the non-REM sleep. In order to, excuse me, really prepare for sleep, you need to have something that's called sleep hygiene. You need to prepare your body and your mind for sleep. It's better to have a cool, dark place to sleep, cutting off all of the electronics or the other thing that fill our day. The bedroom should be used primarily for sleeping. It's not a good idea to have a television in your bedroom, to eat late at night, drinking alcohol, caffeine, heavy meals about 2 hours before sleep is going to interfere with your sleep. You usually won't sleep as soundly as well. And REM sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep, that's the stage of sleep where most dreams happen. And dreams, I don't know if anybody knows what dreams really mean, but we're usually dreaming at that time. And what that, again, is that the eyes are moved behind our eyelids. And actually, in sleep studies and other areas, they can tell um, that REM sleep because they can see the eyelids moving. You are dreaming during REM sleep. The brain activity looks very similar to brain activity when you're awake. The REM sleep makes up about 25% of our total sleep time. So that really deep sound sleep is just 25% of the sleep because the others is less sound sleep. So the cycle of sleep then it's the shortest, and each one REM sleep is longer than the one that is just pretended. So as we're sleeping, we're going through all of those different stages of sleep. And there are a lot of sleep disorders, and most of us probably have experienced some of those. But some of the sleep disorders, things that interfere with our ability to get a really good, comfortable sleep, conditions that can disrupt sleep or wakefulness, they're sleep disorder. And there are six main categories of sleep disorder. And the central sleep disorders. One of the more serious one is called narcolepsy. And that's where people they can't really gauge or control their sleep. They can just fall asleep in the middle of a sentence. And obviously it's dangerous because it's not controlled. You can fall asleep when you're driving, when you're talking. Um, and so that's one of the major sleep disorders. But the circadian rhythm sleep disorder, that's things that happen like jet lag or shift work, people that work the night shift. That also can be a sleep disorder. Insomnia, where you just don't get sound sleep, can also happen. Sleep disordered breathing, such as sleep apnea, that's very common. And often it occurs in people that are overweight, but not always. Sometimes it will happen with people that sleep on their back. But the related movement disorders are, one of them is restless leg syndrome, where the leg just kind of jerks uncontrollably while you're sleeping. Now, why these things happen, I don't think science is not really clear on it, but again, they vary. With the sleep disorder, there are ways that they try to detect what those sleep disorders are, and often they will have to sleep studies if they're really serious and you're having a significant problem with that. Another thing, sleep disorder that happens during REM sleep are nightmares, or they call them night behavior disorders. So all of these things can happen while we're sleeping for whatever reason. We don't really know why. But how are these sleep disorders diagnosed? One of the major ways is a sleep study where you actually have to be in a hospital setting in a quiet place where they can actually monitor your breathing and what you're doing. Um, those tests are ordered by physicians, and so there has to be a pretty significant reason for ordering those sleep disorders. But there is one, it's called a sleep study that you can do at home. They're usually less comprehensive. They're not nearly as accurate, but you can order these, or your physician can help you with this. It's a device that measures your sleep. So what it does, it provides a way to put and at home a person to gauge their own sleep at home. Another way test that's used to monitor sleep is called the electroencephalogram, or the EEG. And what that does, it measures and records your brain wave activity. And the healthcare provider there, usually it's a neurologist, examine the brain activity for signs of unusual brain activity. And they use that a lot to detect seizure disorders and other things. So the sensors actually track and record the brain waves that are going on. And again, that's in a usually dark, quiet place. It takes a technician to do that. Um, so those are just some of the more common ones that are used to try to detect what sleep disorders if they have it, and what's causing those disorders. And sometimes it's very difficult. They can't really tell what's causing the disorder. So again, how you maintain a wakefulness test, it looks at whether or not a person can resist falling asleep in situations where it would be easy to fall asleep. And it's a common part of safety testing for people who drive or do intricate work. Uh, if to make a living, those kind of tests are necessary to do that. Now, again, some of the common treatments for sleep disorders, um, a good sleep hygiene, sleeping in a cooler temperature rather than a hot temperature, having clothing that's breathable, usually cotton clothing, getting rid of those blue lights, the sensors, and all of the things that we're so used to. Uh, Another problem is not considered a sleep disorder, but a problem with sleeping is snoring. And I think probably a lot of us are used to snoring. What happens when people snore is that some tissue falls back, and then as you breathe, it's breathing over the tissue that has fallen back, whether it's your tongue or your uvula. And snoring can be very, very distracting to the people that have to listen to the snoring. But often, if you just poke them or turn them over, snoring usually happens when people sleep on their back. So if you turn them over and sleep on their side, usually the snoring will be less of a problem. In that way, for again, sleep hygiene, have a sleep routine. So you have to really prepare for your sleep before you go, usually starting at 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep. You wind down. You don't want to look at something like Dracula or murder mysteries or whatever a couple hours before you go to sleep, because that will interfere with your sleep, and your brain won't function as well if you're not getting the adequate sleep. So watch what you're listening to, what you're looking at. Um, what you're talking about, what you're eating, all of those things you have to be really, really careful about before you go to sleep. And you start that people's sleep diary. How often do you wake up during the night? What happens when if you are waking up during the night? Now, again, if you drink a lot of fluids and if you're on certain medications, that may cause frequent urination, then all of those things again can interfere with your sleep. So it's important that you try to look at all of those things. Watch what you listen to or what you watch on the television. Have your bedroom. Usually it's better if it's a dark. Some people have the blackout curtains that keep out all of the outside or the excessive light. Um, so those are just a few of the things. Again, knowing how important sleep is. Our bodies need it to function properly, and sleep is a gift from God. So if we look at it as a gift from God, we'll try to treat it, look at what are things that are going on in our life that's causing us not to sleep well. Stress interferes with sleep. So what kind of lifestyle, what's going on in our life that's causing us not to be able to sleep well? So those are just a few pointers.
Thank you very much. And just 2 or 3 questions.
Couple
before I give
questions. You
you,
said 2 or 3, Pastor, you
yeah, you can
said?
take 2 or 3
Okay, because we do have a couple.
on
Okay,
sleep.
all right. So on sleep, so those of you that I missed your last water question, maybe you can talk to Dr. Newby offline. But related to sleep, there are a couple. What about the medications like no-dose and these canned energy drinks? And I'll just add, what about sleep aids? So that I'll put that in one category. And then there was one, is there a better sleep position, a preferred sleep position?
Not necessarily. It's a very personal choice. Some people sleep on their back and they can sleep well without snoring. Snoring may not be a problem for the person that's sleeping, but it's a problem for the people that have to listen to it. Um, so usually side sleeping, and a lot of times people sleep when they draw their knees up like a fetal position. And again, if you have some health problems or back problems, putting a small pillow between your knees will help you sleep. Some people actually sleep better on their stomach. So it's a preference. I don't know that there is a best position.
Okay, good, thank you. What about sleep aids, sleep medications? Wait, let me say this differently. One is what about sleep medications? The other one is what about things that like no-dose or those canned energy drinks that are supposed to keep you energized rather than relax you?
No dose and the can is caffeine. They're very, very high amounts of caffeine. And then things that are not necessary. I mean, our body doesn't have a deficit of caffeine, so they're not necessarily healthy. Again, if you're taking things like high energy drinks, is really, really loaded with caffeine. If you read the label, it'll tell you how much caffeine there is. And caffeine is not good for you because it's not necessarily going to be dissipated from your body by the time you're trying to go to sleep. Sleeping pills, sleep aids, they may be helpful for a while. They can be addicting and they lose their effectiveness. And if you have a sleep disorder, a really, really hard time sleeping with, you have insomnia or some of the other things, you probably really need to see a medical health practitioner to find out what your problem is. What is your stage of sleep that you're not sleeping well? What other things are going on in your life that's causing you not to sleep? If you're eliminating the caffeine, the alcohol, the overstimulant things, first of all, do that. Develop a sleep hygiene process. So it's a habit. Our bodies really we develop habits very easily. So you can develop those healthy sleeping habits if you do it on a regular basis.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Newby. We are ever so grateful, and people are expressing gratitude in the chat. Great lesson on water and sleep, Dr. Newby. Thank you for taking so much time to research this subject for us. We just want you to know that we are very thankful. Thank you, Pastor, for this series on healthcare. So thank
And
you.
thanks everybody for listening. It's a blessing and again a gift from God. And let these words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable. So hopefully it will be helpful. And the most important takeaway is that we have a really healthy attitude toward the things that gifts that God has given us. You know, the abundant water. When God was creating, He knew that we need, every cell of our body needs water, so He made it plentiful and fairly free. So those are just some things that we can change our attitude and have a better relationship with our health in our body, with our temple.
Amen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank